I love the show Aggretsuko. I think the show is an underrated gem that a lot of people will miss out the same way they intentionally miss out B-stars because they think it's furry shit.
张牙舞爪健身操，祝您健康步步高。
Aggretsuko is a really grounded and relatable show that focuses on the characters rather than the over-the-top nature that most anime have. And by relatable, I mean relatable. If you're in your 20s and you're working at an office, you know the show.
So this is the thanks I get for working overtime.
Heck, and even if you're young, I feel like you can find something to relate here. Like, personally, my favorite character, Haida, speaks to me a lot. Like, we've all experienced pining over someone that, frankly, we put on a pedestal and have this long crush with them. Not only that, Haida speaks to me as a person who sometimes feels that he's failed at life. That feeling of desperately wanting someone to see your value. That's why I love Haida. But good God, did they massacre my boy this season. Okay, from season 1, we knew that Haida has a huge crush on Retsuko, and it all culminated to season 3, where he finally sorta confessed to her, which was kind of controversial for a lot of fans of the show. A lot of people trying to armchair psychoanalyze the scene. A lot of people thought that Haida was forcing Retsuko to get over her trauma. And that simply wasn't the case. You know, I understand this if Retsuko was actually trying to heal, but she wasn't. She was isolating herself and reading hate comments from the internet. And I read a comment that said that it was a form of self-harm, and I agree. Like, if you're already in a bad state, why would you read hate comments directed at you? And it wasn't just Haida involved. This was sort of an intervention staged by Retsuko's friends. I think Haida was trying to get Retsuko to let out her anger because she was keeping it bottled inside. And Retsuko did fire back. She said some rather true things that Haida doesn't truly know Retsuko. He's just forcing his feelings onto her.
You don't know anything about me. You just think you do. When you push your feelings onto me, I feel so trapped.
I thought that this scene was beautiful. If you put the emotions aside, this is just an example of two people communicating how they feel. And in a relationship, communication is very important.
I feel bad that you feel bad about me feeling bad about you feeling bad about what I said about what you said about me not being able to share a feeling.
Okay, we get to season 4 and Haida and Retsuko are dating, or sort of trying to date. But Haida always chickens out. Which is, what? He literally just said last season that, I wanna be where you belong. And now he's chickening out, he's backtracking. You know, I get it. A lot of people are shy, or they have confidence issues. But it's just so frustrating to watch Haida being so brave last season to turning like this. Honestly, it was a bad way to start the season. I think it hurt the show. I hate the will they, won't they type of thing that shows usually do. I personally think that romance shows or movies do that just to stretch the plot. And of course, Aggretsuko being a Sanrio show, I guess I should probably expect that, but a good number of fans already don't like Haida. And they certainly don't like the idea of him and Retsuko being together. And this season just hurt that idea more. Honestly, it feels like Haida has chemistry with everyone except Retsuko. And I guess the show tried to remedy this by having Retsuko make the first move, telling Haida how she feels. And I actually like that. I like when a woman makes the first move. You know, let's break some norms. Okay, finally, Haida and Retsuko can finally date normally, get to know each other, build a relationship that fans will actually like. And then the show ruins it again. This is the part of season 4 where the Haida and Retsuko story interlocks with the main plot of the story. Basically, there's a new CEO of the company who gets Tone to quit, which means there's a new head of accounting. And that replacement eventually gets replaced by Haida. And honestly, that was such a funny scene, everyone reacting to Haida being the new head of accounting. This is where things get messy. You know, I like the concept of Haida getting inspired by someone finally seeing value in him. But since this entangles with the Retsuko and Haida love story, it hurts their relationship. And we see this immediately. They start to lie to each other. Retsuko feels responsible for what happened to Tone, so she hires him as her accountant for her Death Growl Screamo channel. She doesn't let Haida know. And Haida lies to Retsuko because he's doing something illegal. He's doing something fraudulent. He's window dressing. Eventually, Retsuko confronts Haida about what he's doing, and Haida also fires back about her Death Growl channel, and he tells her to leave her alone. And if you've seen a toxic relationship where one person isn't willing to communicate, or one person is lying, or both people are lying, then you know how this goes. The rest of the season, Retsuko is actively working against Haida. Not a very loving relationship. They're back to ignoring each other. And it all culminates again to a second confrontation. This time, in the same karaoke room from last season. But the tables are turned. This time, Retsuko's telling Haida to snap out of it. Although I don't like this one in particular, Haida comes off as very manipulative, incel energy. He projects his insecurities onto Retsuko, saying he did all these illegal things for her because he felt like he was, a nobody. I mean, we can all understand having our own insecurities, but blaming it onto others, that's such a cop-out. I'm glad Retsuko slapped Haida in the face. And I'm sure it was satisfying for some of you Haida haters to see that. But now maybe Haida's snapped out of it. We'll get Season 3 Haida back. Maybe we can salvage the relationship between Haida and Retsuko and turn it into something true and honest. So finally, after a season of Haida having confidence issues, projecting his insecurities onto, Retsuko, Tadano, Haida finally confronts the CEO, Himuro. He's practically there. I think he's actually gonna convince the CEO to stop the window dressing. And then Retsuko comes in and screams them out of a window. So Retsuko steals Haida's thunder. She says, "Why aren't you done yet?" and then blasts them off the building. Which, okay, Retsuko's the star of the show. And of course, it's a Sanrio show. And of course, you know, people love to see Retsuko go crazy. But as an average Haida enjoyer, I really thought that that was Haida's moment. Haida finally growing a pair. And then Retsuko finishes the fight for him. Okay. So the season ends, Tone and Kabai are back, but Haida quits. And at the end, kind of alludes to Haida and Retsuko being back together. And honestly, it just felt so deflated after the entire season. As a huge fan of Haida, as someone who wanted Haida to finally get the girl and be with Retsuko, I feel nothing.